here on Vox Populi 1460 and worldwide at WVOX.com for you and yours.
The radio achieves its highest calling when it resembles a forum, a soapbox for the expression of many different viewpoints. AM 1460, WVOX. 1460.
Stay tuned now for What Happened Here with Rich Thomas. Rich Thomas is the former mayor of Mount Vernon. And now, What Happened Here with Rich Thomas on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here. And today, our question, our topic is what happened here with air quality. Not just any air, but indoor air quality. There's new COVID going around. There's RSV and flu. It's a triple and pandemic. I don't know what they're calling it now on the news. I just know that a lot of people are struggling with different types of ailments. Um, and we have a very special guest today, Dr. Tyler Orehek, president of Airgle Corp., a company that produces and provides air purification equipment. And I'm looking forward to having him join us in a few moments. But I wanted to just, invite you to call in, weigh in. Feel free to call us at 914-636-0110 if you want to tap in and ask questions about air quality, what you can do. There was a situation at Montefiore Hospital today in New Rochelle where some employees were exposed to vapors from chemicals that caused them to go to the emergency room. And we have, a lot of people don't realize how fragile it is to have, something in get into your system, a pathogen, a pollutant, dust. It could trigger an asthma attack. It could trigger, a prolonged illness, severe injury. And that's why our guest today, I'm looking forward to having him on to talk about strategies and things you can do to keep your air clean, but also, make sure that you take steps if you have a small business or a medical facility, things you should be thinking about to improve your operation so that you have clean air for your patients or your customers, as well as your employees. But the news today coming out of New Rochelle was, very concerning, but also apropos and timely because I had this guest come on and get ready to discuss new COVID because cases are down, but there are other cases of different types of illnesses being caused by viruses floating in the air. And there's also been a lot of information or misinformation. We had Dr. Fauci for a very long time talking about wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get vaccinated. Oh, the vaccine works. Oh, well, the vaccine has, limitations. And, you have all this stuff. You have all this information. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you, you have a lot of information out there. And hopefully, our experience tells us that, if you're sick, you should wear masks and try and prevent other people from getting sick. That way, your particulate matter coming from your coughing or sneezing doesn't go around. Or in the alternative, if you do have access to equipment or your space where you work has invested in air purification systems, then you're one of the lucky ones. I mean, like there was a lot of money put out there for COVID over the pandemic, and I'm wondering where did it all go? So I know that we have a an opportunity to make sure that we have a measure in place to um, you know to have your to have clean air and to have a good run of having everything put together. He's going to call in at 12:15. Sorry. So a couple minutes he'll be on the line. But before he joins us, I just wanted to tee it up because I know a lot of people deal with issues from asthma to particulate matter, dander from cats or dogs, you name it. And you know your lungs are very important. And I can tell you that um, as we gather in all kinds of places, crowded bars, restaurants, trains, planes seem to have the best air filtration systems. But we're going to get into all those questions when he calls in. But before he calls in, I just want to mention to everyone, you know, that I'm hoping this week in Mount Vernon, as you know, my hometown, my beloved Mount Vernon, we're supposed to receive the city's budget. It's 4 months late. And the audits from years 2016 through 19 all have been held back by this current administration, and I don't know why. But I want to see all this stuff come out so we can get to figuring out where the city stands and why it's taking certain positions, or why, you know, the police are being told that they can't have a respectable contract. We keep losing police in our community, which is not does not help safety in our city. So I just want to emphasize, everybody, remind you that we need to get answers on what's the status of the budget. Is there another tax increase ahead for us? We don't know, but we're gonna find out hopefully soon. And as we talk about cities and municipalities, you know, I'm always looking for ways to improve when it especially comes to government, and what kind of standards should be set. And exiting COVID, or while we were in the middle of COVID, you know, one of the hot items that people would want to get is an air purifier for their house or their home or their business. And I'm of the mindset that, you know, as we build new buildings and new structures, we should really think about putting in standards that include, you know, a high standard for air purification, cycling the air through, so that, you know, by design, you know, we have a healthier environment. But I'm not the expert on that. I'm someone that aspires always for greatness, and we have a great guest on the line with Dr. Tyler Orehek from Airgle, president, who's going to talk to us about, you know, air safety. And some people, you know, recognize that it's very important, especially for those that have asthma and those that are prone to illness because of underlying conditions. But doctor, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
And you know, some people, you know, they didn't take this serious until you know, COVID hit. You know, but you've been at air quality, indoor air quality, for a pretty long time, since 2003, I see.
That's correct. Yes. So I'm the president of corporate for Airtel North America. We're a global leader in the air purification industry. For 20 plus years, we've specialized in really engineering and manufacturing the most advanced air purifiers on the market today. As you alluded to, my career began in 2003, where I owned and operated a multidisciplinary practice in New York City. I was a primary care healthcare practitioner, and air purification or air quality was a subject that came up very often with our patients. With they would ask us for recommendations on being able to invest in a high-end air purifier, and after a great deal of research, identified really just one brand that stood alone, and that was Airgle. Airgle
Hmm.
Corp. They've been around again 20 plus years, and we really manufacture a system that is bar none unmatched. It's really quite amazing what we've been able to achieve in the air purification industry all these years. You just mentioned about individuals, that it's on their mind, and in many cases, unbeknownst to most people, they don't know what's in their air quality, or rather, they don't know what's in their air. They could be, highly compromised, and they're oftentimes, unaware of those facts.
You know, people don't know what's in their food, let alone the air. I mean, like, but I want to zoom in on that for a second, because, you know, what is in the air? What type of pollution or pollutants or dust particles? What is in the air that could trigger, be it, you know, asthma is very well known, but, you know, with respect to COVID, you know, there's a lot of information out there about how it is transmitted, how it travels. Would air purification help limit the risk of COVID traveling from within a room or within a certain space?
without question. Let me back up a little bit. So you mentioned the airborne contaminants. So inhaling these pollutants can certainly have the potential to wreak havoc on one's health. Resulting in many symptoms that can lead to other pulmonary ailments and maybe even a host of other health crises. So these particles, they're incredibly small, especially when you're talking about airborne pathogens like COVID or influenza. These are incredibly small particulates, and so it's a concern of many. And oftentimes this is at the top of the list.
Well, we're gonna keep that on the top of the list when we come back from a brief commercial break. You're listening to What Happened Here on WVOX and Whitney Global Media Station with Airgo's president, Dr. Tyler Orehek.
This is WVOX.
I'm Susan Lee, and this is the Fox Business Report. The country's gross domestic product grew more than first estimated, according to updated
That's
figures.
good news.
The third quarter GDP of the U.S. grew at an annual rate of 2.9%, up from the 2.6% rate in the preliminary reading issued last month. This seems to indicate the U.S. is on track to expand again as the year draws to a close, but estimates vary from as much as 4% to less than 1%. And Spain is enacting a new code to avoid sexism in toy ads. The change, which goes into effect Thursday, is meant to discourage toy manufacturers from using sexist stereotypes such as dolls for girls and action figures for boys, or colors such as blue and pink to indicate which products are intended for which gender. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Lillian Wu, invested in you.
What's up, y'all?
We
Just want to say hello. Thank you for joining. If you have a question, I know this might be,
has a brilliant
you know,
idea
a very,
funding for the people who can their head on and climb incredible heights while they were
this is an interesting topic. I mean, like,
who
we all
celebrate
work
the
in places and spaces, be it a
We
mechanic
pray
shop
for all
or
who have been
driving a
by
garbage
Congress,
truck or
great
working in an office or a
air
radio station, wherever you are,
every patient.
you have to breathe. You have to breathe in the air, and you have to,
Conquer.org.
you know, make it through. So the question is, what is the plan to make sure that your air quality indoor is protected? So we're going to have that discussion when we get back from break. Here we come.
With Rick Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened Here, and we are here every Wednesday from 12 to 1 at WVOX 1460 on your AM dial. And today's question is, what happened here with indoor air quality? What happened to air safety? And we're unpacking that issue with an expert, Dr. Tyler Orehek, from the president of Airgold North America, a company that is dedicated to producing the best air purification system that goes above and beyond standards set by our federal government. And we need, products and we need help when it comes to air quality, because many of us are struggling with different types of respiratory breathing issues, challenges. And even today, people at Montefiore Hospital in New Rochelle, they were exposed to a chemical that spilled, and the workers had to be hospitalized. Why? Because they breathed in some vapors from a toxic chemical that may have caused serious bodily harm. Now, we don't know the full circumstances behind what happened to these workers that were hospitalized at Montefiore Hospital, but they're very lucky that they were at a hospital where they could be immediately transported to a emergency service unit that could hopefully reverse some of the damage that was done from them breathing in dangerous toxic particulate matter. On the line, again, is Dr. Tyler Orrick. He is the president of Airgle. And before we went to break, we were talking about why air quality should be on the top. Now, let me clarify, not just air quality, indoor air quality, where you work at a crowded bar, a restaurant, a small business should be carefully considering having technology and equipment, a strategy to purify the air, not just for their customers or their patients, but also their employees to protect themselves from pathogens and pollutants that come in from outdoors. Doctor, I know you were about to let everybody know why the air needs to be purified. Can you pick that back up?
Certainly, so the question that is on everyone's mind these days, and of course, airborne pathogens are at the top of that list. So I'm talking about microbial contaminants of all kinds, including COVID-2, influenza, and now, of course, RSV, which is a respiratory syncytial virus. But of course, we're also dealing with other pollutants every day, like dust, dander, pollen, mold, other allergens of that nature. And you mentioned, the hospital dealing with a chemical, issue. Those are known, of course, as VOCs, which are volatile organic compounds. These are chemicals, gases, vapors, various odors that oftentimes we can't smell, but yet can pose tremendous health risks to us.
I wonder, we always hear this story about, being on CNN or on WVOX or Fox or some other station, uh, tourists, they go on vacation and then they wind up dead because the carbon monoxide detector wasn't working or wasn't installed or the battery died or something to that effect. And you just wonder, something so small, it's invisible, it's invisible to the human eye, but it can definitely have a deadly consequence if you do not have the right protections in place to protect your indoor air quality. So, like restaurants and bars, they have kitchens and they need to have HVAC systems and certain fire suppression. I think since COVID, we've seen some ridiculous measures put in place, of like curtains and plexiglass and all sorts of things that kind of prevent air from flowing around. But I'm just saying it just seems a bit nonsensical you know if there are other options available, and this is where you are the expert. Could an air purification system, some small units spaced properly throughout a commercial space or an office, could that really help cycle and clean the air like we have on airplanes?
Well, without question. Now, it's worth noting, though, pathogens are very, very challenging to capture. And the vast majority of air purifiers are simply not up to that task.
Mm.
And that's because these other lesser brands have very rudimentary internal filters, and they simply are not discriminating enough. One can argue that those systems can, do a fine job maybe collecting coarse dust, dust bunnies, or maybe large pollen spores, but they're not well suited for ultrafine particulates or ultrafine contaminants, in the realms of where airborne pathogens are concerned.
Hmm.
Really, Airgle is nearly, or maybe even possibly the only manufacturer that has a specialized HEPA filtration that is discriminating enough to go down to 0.003 microns with 99.999% efficiency. We really stand alone in that category. So while everyone ought to invest in air purifier, sometimes they could just be band-aids because they're not really reflecting or they're not able to produce the kind of filtration that they hope they can produce. That's why education is key, and Ergo I think that's quite a bit in the way of educating the public, educating our consumers that really our systems are unique in the sense that they can capture ultrafine particulates such as COVID, COVID-2 and other airborne pathogens.
So COVID, does it live in the air? Can it float from person to person? And how can your purifier remove it or capture it?
Sure. So, COVID needs to be suspended in a water droplet. It really can't survive on its own. So it travels and permeates spaces by way of kind of passing or hitching a ride on a water droplet. So when someone sneezes or coughs, of course, they are usually expelling, water vapor from their mouth. So that's how COVID travels from person to person. Now, that suspended molecule is so incredibly light that it can stay suspended for just hours and hours, even days on end.
Wow.
So the goal is to have machines such as our aerial system that is robust enough to draw in air a number of times per hour. That's the goal. If you were to purify the air only say one cycle per hour, that really is inadequate. You want to have that air being drawn through a system like ours several times an hour, and we can achieve that. You want what's known as the CFM, the cubic feet per minute, to be high enough that you're actually being impactful. And also, you want a system to be closed, an airtight system, versus a leaky one. And what I mean by that is, you want an air purifier, like the Airgo system, that has the ability to not allow any leakage, meaning that when the air is drawn in, all of that unfiltered air is in fact purified through the various stages before being released, as purified air.
This is serious and significant, and I can talk about mold. I want to talk about mold, especially black mold, when we come back, because we need to deal with some moldy, leaky situations. Don't change that dial. You listen to What Happened Here. So I'm going to put their website in here so y'all can check them out. Eric.com.
That's the news. The latest update from Fox News Radio on 1460 WVOX.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. There's damage from at least 25 tornadoes hitting the south. 2 people in Alabama are killed in a mobile.
I hate autocorrect on these phones.
Power lines
You type one thing and then it corrects to another. It is the most aggravating thing. And if y'all agree, send me a tap or something. Send me a thumbs up, because it is wild.
Brown. House Democrats
Look, I typed in the name of their website,
new leader with Nancy Pelosi,
and this is now the third time autocorrect is fooling around with this
strike next week. Speaker Nancy Pelosi
freaking spelling, like, annoying.
I urge a strong bipartisan yes vote on both adopting the tentative agreement and securing additional paid sick leave.
That's something rail union members have been demanding. It was not included in the deal that was agreed to by union leaders in September.
Pin the comment. Check out airgle.com.
Listening to Fox News.
And big shout out and congratulations to Hakeem Jeffries as being elected the leader of the Democrats in Congress. That's a big deal. Brooklyn, stand up. Brooklyn got the leader of Congress for the Democrats. They got the leader of the Senate, Chuck Schumer. And they got, a lot of squeeze nationally, and the mayor of New York City is from Brooklyn. So Brooklyn, stand up, y'all. Big ups to Brooklyn.
MVP offers a wide range of free.
Yeah, they got some stuff. I'm like,
for individuals.
I want to take a look at their home system, because kids and
emergency coverage, even
cooking.
benefits.
I'm gonna talk about cooking. I'm gonna do mold, and I'm gonna talk about cooking.
Per month.
Because one of the things that I know that bothers my wife
Get MVP health insurance
is when
free.
the air smells like grease. We know we gotta eat, and we try to eat with the most healthy of foods and products. But after you cook, the house smells like food, which is good. But the next morning, you don't want to be smelling shrimp from 3 days ago. So I'm just saying, I'm gonna talk to Dr. Orhek about what can his products do to help clear up the air after you cook dinner. That's relevant to a lot of us, and for those that are here that know people with businesses, definitely recommend that your business friends and colleagues take a look at some of the products and financing that they have available to do a commercial dive and helping your business set up a strategy to purify the air, more rapidly than it currently does. Because there's no need to have
Grocery stores.
air that's going to carry, nonsense and pathogens to get your employees sick. No need for it. If you can do better, then let's do better,
Manhattan Beer Distributors also offers.
So I'm looking forward to talking to him about that. I'm looking at his website now. Let me pull up his website so y'all can see.
In addition, Manhattan Beer Distributors
Here you go.
best high-quality specialty beers like Blue Moon, Saranac, tea and ales, and so much more. Manhattan Beer Distributors also offers the best in non-alcoholic brands like San Pellegrino, Aquapana, and Perrier waters. And don't forget the best iced tea around, New Leaf Teas. To see their full product line, go to www.manhattanbeer.com. For more information on how Manhattan Beer Distributors can best serve your business, please contact them at 1-800-BEER-INC. That's 1-800-233-7462.
And now with your latest up-to-date forecast, here's Steve Pelletieri's Eye on Weather on 1460 WVOX.
Forecast Westchester County in the vicinity for today. We'll see cloudy skies with occasional rain showers. Our temperatures will climb into the upper 50s with south winds gusting as high as 45. Showers possible this evening, then mostly cloudy. Clearing skies towards daybreak, lows falling back to the lower 30s. Plenty of sunshine on tap for Thursday. Thursday's highs will climb into the lower 40s. Mostly sunny into the upper 40s for Friday.
Tyson, good to see you at the gym this morning. We gonna build. I know we were close this morning, but I'm gonna give you a shout after this. I think I'm gonna have to move to doing twice a day workouts. We're gonna talk about that. Now, here we go, back in break.
With Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to What Happened here on 1460 WVOX on your AM dial or worldwide at WVOX.com. We're here every Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. asking the question of what happened here with a particular situation or a topic. And today's topic is indoor air quality. On the line, our special guest is Dr. Tyler Orehek from Ergal, North America. They are one of the preeminent leaders in air quality filtration systems. We have a conversation going, especially online. People are asking questions like, what can be done to get rid of that smell after I finish cooking a great meal? I got grease in the air. Can the Ergal system help clean up the indoor air quality from, me just cooking in the house? Or we got questions about mold. Can an Ergal system help deal with mold in the house or in the air from, situations that were left unattended to? Doctor, we got the lines in the incoming questions popping right now.
Yeah, so black mold is an incredibly tenacious and stubborn pathogen. Very, very difficult to address oftentimes, but Ergal has been combating that very aggressively and very effectively for 20 plus years again. There's really a threefold approach or a three-pronged approach when it comes to mold. One is, of course, using a medical grade air purifier like our Ergal system, of course, is one proactive remedy. The second would be to increase ventilation into a space, because when you can increase ventilation, you're then diluting the concentration of those contaminants, with fresh air. That can be very impactful. And then thirdly, source control is key. And what I mean by source control is that is removing the source of the pollutant whenever possible. So, for example, with mold, many homes and high-rise buildings, oftentimes need remediation of mold, where due to previous water damage, that can trigger the growth of mold behind sheetrock, under floorboards, and that has to be removed. Has to be removed entirely and replaced. But once you've done those remediation steps, then an Ergal air purifier will be incredibly impactful to be able to capture any lingering black mold spores that might be permeating that airspace still.
And this is, again, we're our special guest today is Dr. Tyler Orehek. He's an expert in indoor air quality. He's the president of Ergal North America, a leader in air purification systems. And one of the things that, I have your website so people can see online. um, the different types of products you're offering for the home, also for commercial use. And in the home, people are wondering, can, a home air purifier help make indoor air quality a little bit better, especially after they cook dinner? Is that something that you guys have something to address with that? You have some products to address with that?
With that we do very handedly. That's actually quite straightforward. So when it comes to cooking smells, or even pet odor too, is a big factor for residential customers. So whether you're dealing with cooking smells or secondhand smoke, or again pet odor, the key filter that addresses that need would be the activated carbon. We use organic coconut shell based granulated activated carbon, and what that does is it absorbs those molecular pollutants out of the air. It binds it to the granulated carbon. And once that occurs, those smells are forever harnessed, in that matrix of carbon. And very very rapidly, it's removed from the airways, from the airspace, and our customers will note immediate relief of having those odors, and whether they be chemical, and also cleaning products too. Many people are using cleaning products that are chemical based. So those sorts of products are also addressed by our system.
And, some people have very sensitive lungs, be it they're allergic to animals, cats. I know I'm allergic to stupid people, but that's a different allergy. But I can tell you that
Yeah.
I'm listening to you.
I would say that's very, very true. Lung tissue, primarily the deep bronchial tissue, is incredibly sensitive to airborne contaminants. Once something is brought into the lung field, and it gets seeded in that bronchial tissue, that can result in really horrible symptoms that can then lead to other pulmonary issues, and just health issues in general. So it's paramount that whether it's in a residential setting, or in many, with our customers, many of them are commercial, professional settings, hospitals, clinics, schools, hotels. It's imperative that our systems are run around the clock to really decrease the exposure risk that people potentially have when walking into a space.
And I just think about going back to the early days of COVID, when the pandemic set in, and we didn't have a complete understanding, but we at least knew we needed to have the air purified and cycled. So I'm hoping that by now, the inventory is there, and the demand is there, and the government will is there to invest in setting higher standards for indoor air quality. I think that many people don't realize how important it is to have the air cleaned and purified, given all the different types of threats. If I'm not going to speculate about your product prices, I'm just going to focus on the consequences. With dirty air, or with pathogens or viruses floating around, the cost of going to the hospital is far greater than having a system in place that keeps the air clean by design. And that's where, I'm a big fan of this type of thinking and strategy, because, you reduce your long-term costs simply by having a system in place to keep it clean. Now, again, a lot of people take these small things for granted. I know I don't. I believe little things are big things, because little things stop big things all the time. Here's an example. You have dirty air that gets you sick. But I am curious though about, what can a business do, to get ahead of some of these issues? Should businesses be looking at air purification systems? I'm just thinking of, you have different types of businesses, from spas to restaurants and bars. Should they still be thinking about this? Because the news is not talking about COVID, but we know it's still out there with the flu and RSV.
No, it's certainly going to rear its ugly head once again, especially in these colder months. I do feel that COVID is certainly here to stay, and we have to address it. Many industries are not taking this lying down. During COVID, I can't tell you how many different sectors reach out to us. The healthcare sector was a huge area. Hospitals again, dental clinics, doctors in private practice, all relied on Ergo products to address their air quality needs. And we're also very proud that our specifications, our various attributes and features, outperform or exceed the specifications and guidelines that the CDC and the EPA have recommended. We far exceed their guidelines. So, for example, they want an air purifier to be able to capture particles as small as 0.3 microns. However, our systems purify down to 0.003 microns, 100-fold, more discriminating. So we're very, very proud of that.
And we should be proud that we have the president of Ergo North America on the line talking about how you can keep your air clean, your indoor air clean. But we're going to talk more when we come back from break. Don't change that dial. All right, you got it. Ask him to hold. Can you come back from break? All right, cool.
Latest update from Fox News Radio on 1460 WVOX.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. There's damage from at least 25 tornadoes hitting the south. 2 people in Alabama are killed in a mobile home crushed by a tree.
Storms damaged homes and wrecked power lines across Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana, with reports of torn roofs, crushed barns, blackouts, and downed trees throughout the towns of the Deep South.
Fox's Evan Brown. House Democrats elect New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries their new leader, with Nancy Pelosi stepping down from that role after 20 years. The House votes today on forcing a labor agreement to stop a freight rail strike next week. Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
Time is of the essence. We must act now. I urge a strong bipartisan yes vote on both adopting the tentative agreement and securing additional paid sick leave.
That's something rail union members have been demanding. It was not included in the deal that was agreed to by union leaders in September. America's listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day. 5 inches of rain by tomorrow.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hand with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming.
You're staying dry out there.
Fox News Audio.
I'll be staying dry there. It's raining hard. So travel safe. Travel safe. Travel safe.
Okay, girls, ready to go? Yeah. Mom, I'm hungry. Can I have a snack? Me too. Want a snack? Yeah. Got it?
Children learn from our behaviors.
Hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay, here. Thank you.
They learn what is okay from the adults they see.
Mommy, are you on your phone?
If you're a distracted driver, chances are they will be too. What kind of driver are you raising? Funded by the Governor's Traffic Safety Committee.
College grads, if you're looking to jumpstart your life and get launched as an executive in a stellar and prestigious career with Westchester's fastest growing office company, our friends at Premier Business Innovations are now looking for talented and motivated sales executives to join their team of business professionals. Call President Mark Habib at Premier Headquarters in Pleasantville and stop by this week to meet Mark and discuss an exciting future with Premier Business Innovations. They are great people who have earned the trust of thousands of Westchester's most prominent and important companies. Premier offers a unique opportunity to get real-life business training and also qualify for above-average earnings. So if you're outgoing, competitive, professional, coachable, and if you're a great team player, we suggest you call 914-747-3000 this week. We've known Premier's respected President Mark for a good long time as a real statesman of his profession, and they are in every telling, in every account, a great company. If you've graduated from college and think you have what it takes, joining the Premier Business Innovations team is a great opportunity for you or for someone you know. This is an important offer and a defining moment from a fantastic Westchester company. Call Premier in Pleasantville, 914-747-3000. Premier is a vital local partner to Kyocera Document Solutions America, which designs, manufactures, and distributes the absolute best business machines in the world that fax, scan, copy, and run your office brilliantly and efficiently. In our area, only Mark Habib's Premier Business Innovations offers Kyocera's expertise and worldwide reputation. If this appeals to you, call 914-747-3000 today for this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Premier.
So we're about to come back from break.
Innovations.
Live.
And
everything from the heart
we have a caller on the line that has a question. We're going to take that question, then we're going to wrap up. And I'll talk a little overtime about Mount Vernon. I need your help to put some pressure there.
And
Here we go.
With Rich Thomas, the former mayor of Mount Vernon, on 1460 WVOX.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. My name is Rich Thomas, former mayor of Mount Vernon. You're listening to 1460 WVOX on your AM dial or worldwide at WVOX.com. We are here every Wednesday from 12 to 1 p.m. asking the question, what happened here with a particular situation or question? And today's question is indoor air quality, and our special guest is Dr. Tyler Orehek, the president of Ergo Corp North America, a global leader in the air purification industry. We're talking about, tactics, strategies, products, and services that are available to help you make your indoor air quality pure, protecting yourself from pathogens, viruses, all sorts of stuff that's in the air that either smells bad or can make you sick, because we know little things stop big things. And before we went to break, we received a caller that has a question. Caller, are you on the line? Chris, are you there?
Yeah.
Thank you for calling, Chris. You're on line. What happened here?
I want to make a point about COVID, if I could.
Tell us.
Yeah. Well, COVID, it's not just an event in our country. It's a worldwide epidemic, virus that keeps mutating as humanity attempts to deal with it. And so the diagnosis and the treatment keeps changing as the virus mutates. And I would add to that it probably was created as a biological weapon in a Chinese lab. And I would put it in this same category as a nuclear weapon capable of killing millions of human beings. So that's my general feeling about the COVID circumstance.
I received it. Look, my sister died because of COVID.
Right.
And my brother, military veteran, recently passed away because he had sleep apnea and pulmonary issues. So I get it. This issue is very important. So I'm all for taking extra steps for people that unfortunately have or are susceptible to things in the air that could be deadly to some, but harmless to others. And I thank you.
See what China's doing now to prevent the spread of the virus?
Yeah, I don't understand it, but what I do know is,
I'll tell you why, because they realize how dangerous it is. It was created as a weapon. Whether or not they intended it to get out of the lab or not is another question. But it was intended as a biological weapon.
Well, I'm not going to dispute that, but in the past, there were views that would shout you down, and I'm all for listening, and I can tell you that I have my suspicions just like yours, and I look forward to a day where we have this behind us and we learn the lesson of not trying to play God. But for now, yeah, well, play politics. That's right, in the lab. I meant. But thank you for calling, Chris. Thanks for your input and your insight. And doctor, I know we're running down on time, but look, regardless of the origin of these problems, we're dealing with these threats in the air, and you've been dealing with it before they were really acknowledged or people were really paying attention to it. So as we look out and we look ahead, the Inflation Reduction Act was passed by Congress. It was a focus on clean energy. About $400 billion have been allocated to move toward solar, renewable, hydrogen, different forms of fuels that don't have emissions, including nuclear. There's going to be a huge transition for buildings to consider using either electric heat, which dries out the air in a space, or they're going to look to transitioning from all sorts of different types of approaches that put particulate matter into the air from some of these power plants. So my the point I'm getting to is, as this transition happens, I hope that there's room in the Inflation Reduction Act to create subsidies, to create more access to products and services like Airgle, so that the average homeowner that may not have, $50,000 to convert their home to all electric heat and cooking, um, I'm looking forward to there being subsidies and grants available to the average person so that they can access these transitions as well as invest in their air safety. I'm not saying your products are, out of reach or too expensive. I'm just pointing out that I know for a fact that there's an effort underway. There's money coming from Washington to facilitate this transition from an energy standpoint. And in that, I hope that Congress, with our new leader, Hakeem Jeffries, who's in Brooklyn. Hakeem is a good person, good friend, and I look forward to his leadership in Congress. But I do know that that's something I'll make sure to mention to him, that as he's going about leading in Congress today, he should be thinking about tomorrow to make sure that there's access to and appreciation for indoor air quality.
Absolutely. You made a very good point a moment ago about how, it's going to be paramount that we make a concerted effort to transition to renewable energy, clean energy. But that's probably a ways off, obviously, but that's the end goal. With respect to the government, the government has, in fact, allocated, as you mentioned, a great deal of funding for schools and other sectors to utilize those monies to invest in air purifiers. In fact, and we've had quite a bit of success. Various entities reaching out to Airgo to capitalize on those opportunities. As I mentioned, we've done some great work in schools at the university level, K through 12 level. Done great work with hospitals, clinics, hotels, resorts. So we're making strides slowly but surely. And what I do know is that Airgo will give our customers the absolute best opportunity to address and combat those air quality concerns that many of them do in fact have.
Well, it's in the national interest that we do have these measures in place, and air purification systems, could play a significant role in limiting the spread of influenza and other, dangerous toxins that are in the air. And I go back to 9/11. We were told the air was safe to breathe, but 20 years later, more people have died from 9/11 related toxins than, those that fell that lost their lives the day of that terrorist attack. So it's a very important measure that we all pay close attention to, from dealing with the day-to-day issues of indoor air quality, from cooking to indoor air quality, just from returning to work, returning to the office. And that seems to be one of the biggest focuses of New York City. So perhaps maybe there needs to be an effort by the New York City Mayor's office and all the different commissions to look at making sure employees know that they're going to have access to purified air that's going to be cycled more. And you already have a hometown or home state company that can help facilitate that.
Right, and to your point, oftentimes the HVAC system, that forced air that's in buildings, whether it's for air conditioning or heating, those HVAC systems are really, even if they have been upgraded, they are not up to that task either. Because, first and foremost, their purpose is to produce, either, cold air conditioning, air or heated air. Their secondary or even maybe tertiary function is maybe purifying the air. But even when it does that, it doesn't do it very effectively because the filters that are within those HVAC systems were designed to just capture coarse stuff, like insect parts and dust bunnies. They are not really equipped to drill down to a very, very small micron level. They're just incapable of that. So standalone systems like our air purifiers, are really the obvious solution in many of these applications, without question.
Well, we're running down on time. Can you just tell everybody where they can, what your company is and where they can find you before we go out?
Certainly. So Airgle is, you can visit our website, www.airgle.com. We're New York based and we're always happy to help, all our customers worldwide.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing a lot of people in this region follow up with you. I know I will be. That was our show this week. Keep your air clean and make sure you follow us at WVOX. Take care and talk to you next week. Thank you, everybody.